Hello, trading is closed on August 21st, 2024. As always, we'll start with our disclaimer, go over our calls, make our predictions. Well, this is my trading plan for Thursday, which is August 22nd, 2024. Please remember my calls can be completely wrong, and the trade you make should be made at your own risk. Look for the pattern with the early low, which is this. Tomorrow should have the early high. We said unless we gapped and promptly overtook yesterday's high, we should see lower prices regardless of how we closed. Well, we got the gap, but we didn't promptly overtake the high. I'll grant you we didn't miss by much, but we did trade lower. We also had a target, 55.93.73. Gapping up takes the time off the table, but not the price. Price was hit with support under the price, so that all worked. And this is just a reminder of what we said. Well, these are today's MEJT patterns. MEJT in the morning said ultimately higher price would print. They did. We got this big rally. It said it wasn't for keeps, it was false. It already retraced. Nothing here tells us anything about tomorrow's patterns, so we're obliged to use other systems. Well, this is day 9 of setup in DeMarc's work. This is actually a common place for rallies to stop. There's nothing requiring it, nothing requiring a big correction, nothing requiring a pause. It's just one of the times that happens often. Here was the last time we hit a number 9. Here's number 9 again. It wasn't immediate, this was over a week, but it shows the market might be a bit overextended. Not a hard and fast rule, obviously. Here's the weekly pattern. Here was 9, you could see it pull back some. Here was 9, you see it pull back some. It's something to look at, but not really reliable enough to spend money on. It might be helpful if you're thinking of initiating a trade, though it probably isn't the most favorable place. Well, we had this trend line we hit right at the low. We draw a parallel channel, hit this high, and that's hit right at our highs now. Again, it's not really a strong enough signal for me to say short this. This is a powerful rally. Certainly, if you want the rally to continue, I'd be happier if we gapped up and overtook this high, and that could well happen. If not, this is another area of resistance. Now let's look at what's happened in the last few days. First of all, we gapped up, hit a higher high, closed under these highs. It isn't good, but all the negativity goes away if we gap in either direction tomorrow and promptly take out this high. But if we can't do that, it's a sign of churning at the top and could lead to a pullback. It doesn't have to lead to a lower close. Let's take another look from this high. We've got 3 waves down, 3 waves up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All of a sudden, we've got 5 waves down, not a 3, and then 3 waves up. Here's our long-term count. We're measuring from what could be A or B. And if you measure from there, you can count this as A and a B, and ABC with C equal to A, and that could be an A, B, C, D, E. There certainly could be an ending diagonal triangle that would explain the 5 waves down and 3 waves up. And if that's what it is, we're going to drop pretty much right from the open. Now the target is to retrace the triangle. The origin. I don't think we're going back here. That's not going to happen. So maybe something else is going on. Maybe there's some other way to count this here. But again, it's a place where a pullback is plausible. It'll be a lot clearer if you're a bull if we gapped up over these highs. And if we don't gap up over these highs, I'm not convinced we're going to see a negative day tomorrow, but I think you might see some negative action. That's about as far as I can go. Now Thursday's pattern has the early high regardless of where we open. Typically it's a rally day with a high in the final hour. If you fail, it's a straight line drop. We gapped up, hit a higher high but closed under intraday highs, and if, in capital letters, if that's maintained at tomorrow's open, we should see lower prices. It doesn't tell us how we close though. We could see lower prices and still close up. Now we completed the Mark's Day 9 of setup on the daily chart. Nothing requires the rally to pause or correct here, but that happens very often when his Day 9 of setup completes, and that's now. There's channel resistance and the wave count compatible with a pullback. In my humble opinion, none of this is compelling enough to justify a short entry now. It just isn't strong enough. I don't think this rally's over. I'm looking for places to go long. However, I think short-term traders can justify a stop unless we gap and promptly overtake the high day. I don't think any pullback here is going to be a disaster, but it might not even last a whole day. But if we don't gap and take this high out early, I think a pullback is certainly plausible, even though it's fighting the trend, and I'm not really a big fan of fighting trends early in their development. Just a little over 2 weeks ago we were collapsing. This is a bit early for me to look for a new short position, but certainly I'd be hesitant about going long if we didn't gap over this, or gap and take this out early. So it's a pattern with the early high, usually bullish. Failure is a straight line drop. We're in resistance. The rally is going to continue. I'd be happier if we gapped and took this out. If not, tomorrow might not be rewarding for the bulls. And that's today's call.